HIV and AIDS is a rapidly growing problem that has affected millions of people in Africa. HIV is a virus that infects vital organs of the human immune system. AIDS is a collection of infections resulting from the damage of the immune system. AIDS can also include some direct effects of HIV infection, for instance, loss of weight and muscle tissue, and damage to the brain and mental functions. There are many symptoms that result from HIV. After the first exposure to HIV, there may be a short flu-like illness. Then there is a long period of time in which the person does not show any symptoms, which can last for many years. Following this period, the lymph nodes become swollen because the body is battling the virus. Lastly, a variety of symptoms may begin to occur. For instance, a loss of appetite, weight loss, fever, rashes, night sweats, and fatigue. A person may even experience memory loss, confusion, and various mental problems due to the infection of the brain. The breakdown of the body's defenses against disease may even allow various cancers to develop. AIDS can strike both male and females of all ages and all races. Mothers pass on the HIV virus to their children during pregnancy and through breastfeeding. People in Africa are more heavily affected by AIDS than any other region of the world. In just the past year, the AIDS epidemic has killed an estimated of 2 million people in the sub-Saharan Africa, and more than 12 million children have been orphaned because of AIDS. The AIDS epidemic is putting a strain on the healthcare in Africa. Also, the economy in Africa is affected because the amount of able laborers is decreasing. The majority of people living with AIDS in Africa are between 15 and 49, which is the prime years for working. Employers, schools, factories, and hospitals have to train other staff to replace those who have become too ill to work. AIDS is having a great effect on Africa's economic development. Although AIDS cannot be cured, it can be prevented. The use of condoms play a key role in preventing HIV infection. Providing condoms in Africa is cheap and cost-effective. The counseling and testing is also important in preventing the spread. In educating the people of Africa about AIDS, the number of those affected will greatly decrease. With HIV testing, people will become aware of their disease and be less prone to spread it. Mother-to-child transmission of HIV can be reduced with the use of drugs. But due to the lack of drugs, services, and information in Africa, most mothers cannot seize this opportunity. Although a drug that completely eliminates the virus does not exist, there are some drugs that slow the progression of HIV in the human body. ARVs delay the progression of AIDS, but these types of drugs are only available in the most developed parts of the world. Distributing these drugs requires money and a well-structured healthcare system. Most Africans living with HIV cannot acquire ARVs. Millions are not even receiving treatment for the opportunistic infections. Africa is in great need for funding towards the HIV epidemic. Treatment and care for those affected is very limited. The ARV drugs that are essential in slowing the progression and preventing infections are very limited throughout Africa. Also, the healthcare in Africa is very unstructured and not available to all that need it. Money is needed to supply medicine and care to the millions in desperate need. Funding is also needed to help educate Africans about the AIDS virus and the ways that it can be prevented, which will help to slow the spread of HIV.